Do you like being happy? Yeah, I thought so. As a perpetual student of life and survivor of many significant traumatic experiences, I've come to tell you that you don't need to worry and everything is going to be okay. If you have ever had troubles with stress, pessimism, or anxiety, you are definitely going to gain a lot of pertinent information from this video. And I know you may be tired of all the cheery platitudes displayed online which never seem to add anything to your life, like live, laugh, love. So, I will be presenting this from a mostly scientific perspective. I will be going over the mechanisms involved in stress and how optimism helps to improve your overall quality of life. Firstly, I will be talking about stress. Stress is a problem everyone faces. Yes, I said it, you are not alone. And oftentimes, it becomes more than we can handle. Stress itself actually has the potential to worsen our health. Cortisol is the human body's primary stress hormone. It is what causes the dreaded fight or flight feeling of intense stress. It is initially a response to a perceived danger in one's environment. While it does serve a unique purpose which allows people to adapt to stress, having too much cortisol can dramatically impact your long-term health. A study by Harvard Health has found evidence that suggests chronic stress increases the likelihood of health problems like high blood pressure and clogged arteries.
Oh, my deathbed. Oh, my blood pressure. Oh, my clogged arteries.
Similarly, another study by Penn Medicine found that cortisol levels have a negative impact on immune health, thus worsening your resistance to disease.
Oh, man, I've really been through it.
Die.
Ah, my disease. I'm dead.
Finally, a study by Maya B. Mather et al. At ScienceDirect.com found that chronic stress shortens the length of telomeres, which are the protective barriers for DNA. This means that sustained stress over a long period of time can increase the risk of DNA damage, shortening potential lifespan and increasing the risk of chronic diseases like cancer.
Spread eagle across the block.
As stated previously, one root cause of stress is a perceived sense of danger. This means that outlook is extremely significant to the brain in determining what situations are stressful and at what magnitude. There are a lot of causes of stress in the world. School, work, finance, housing, emotional management, social stress, and the constant fight for survival are all stressors felt globally. While cortisol does have negative effects long term, we can't necessarily get rid of it outright, as it serves the purpose of giving us the power to fight against the problems that plague our lives. It can be very easy as well as enticing to perpetuate your own stress. High cortisol levels have been known to increase risks of all sorts of mental problems, like anxiety or depression, which cyclically contribute to their own continuum by creating more stress. Confirmation bias is another way stress permeates the mind. If you believe something is dangerous or stressful, you will be actively looking for evidence to prove it. Also, it can be extremely easy to be stressed out because of past experiences. You don't necessarily need to be diagnosed with PTSD to feel the effects of past traumas. A study by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration found that trauma affects us in many unseen ways, including fundamental changes to neurological systems in the brain. While all this talk about stress may make life seem bleak, there is a way to regain hope. One of the best one-size-fits-all approaches towards stress relief is optimism. I previously established the effect cognition and perception have on physical stress levels in the body. Therefore, I must state that while cognitive habits can perpetuate stress, the reverse is also true. A positive mindset can lead to reduced stress levels. A study in the National Library of Medicine by Conversano et al. Found that optimism trains the brain to create a mechanism used directly to fight off depression and anxiety. The same article included a study on a population of elderly people and found that dispositional optimism predicted less probability of mortality in general, and of cardiovascular mortality in particular.
I'm back, baby.
One way to employ optimism is one that you may have heard of, though it is often discounted for its connection to modern spirituality and mental illness. The idea of manifestation is predicated on magical thinking. Though, what would you say if I told you it was completely logical? All it is using symbolism and intention to create a more positive perception of reality, thus making you more receptive to potential opportunities. The use of mysticism also mimics that seen within many popular religions, which I would argue use faith as a means of having a positive outlook on life, meaning that focus on the physical existence of a deity is trivial, and thus unimportant to their idea of faith. Simply believing in a higher power is an effective means of maintaining an optimistic point of view. Another significant way to employ optimism is seen in psychology across the country. A biopsychosocial medicine article by Nakao et al. Found that cognitive behavioral therapy is effective in fighting against the negative mental effects of many disorders, ranging from anxiety and depression to chronic pain or illness. You know, I find it quite fitting that this speech started with some very concerning information but turned into something positive. It just goes to show that there will never be a moment where you're completely hopeless. There will never be a moment where you're powerless. In sum, stress can severely impact your overall quality of life, from mental to physical. But there's still hope for fulfillment in optimism. With its help, you can lead a life you couldn't have previously dreamt of.